Dear friends, hello and welcome to Ukraine. We are on an airfield where we will see the drone, the GOR from Airlogix. So like this, it looks quite normal, but in fact what is great is what it does inside. We're going to take a little tour. When you look at it, two classic communication antennas plus one more classic communication antenna. When I say classic, it's not actually that classic. The system uses three antennas from two different brands for triple redundancy. Every fraction of a second, the frequency changes using software that allows the antenna to transmit and receive on the same frequency immediately. This makes it difficult for the Russians to jam the signal, as they can only jam a few frequencies at a time, requiring one antenna per frequency. Well, logically they will identify the frequencies that cannot be used, because they are already jammed, and so there is a sort of blacklist of frequencies that they do not use in order to always have this communication system despite everything. They have three, which allows to have different channels at the same time. There is the reception, there is the transmission, it goes both ways. The other interesting element, it's a drone with a real heated pitot tube, meaning it's going to work. Even in winter, and it has the ability to deploy very, very quickly. It is launched with a catapult, so it allows for very rapid implementation with very short terrain, or even from the back of a vehicle, and it sets up at ultra-fast speed. That is to say that we are going to directly mount the wings. It fits. There is a small Allen key turn at M, and in reality, in 5 minutes, the drone is operational in terms of propulsion. We are on an electric drone with a hang-on autonomy of 8 hours. 8 hours of autonomy on an electric drone. It's absolutely gigantic. It will fly around 1,968.5 feet altitude with a camera called the Raptor. The best and most efficient thing happening worldwide right now. The quality-price ratio is exceptional. The price of the camera is 45,000 euros. It's more than half the price of the drone, which only goes into the camera. Unfortunately, we can't do without it. However, with this camera, we are able to see people walking 12.4 miles away. We can identify them, we can see moving vehicles. The system has the camera for 2 days and 2 nights at a very long distance. The interest is that this camera is stabilized. It is under the drone, as you can see. To protect the camera, it only activates when the drone reaches an altitude of 175 yards. And in the same way, when we come back to land, it will close itself, and so the pilots will simply organize the landing visually, because the drone comes back on its own to its destination. Its positioning is another element. Here you have a global positioning system. It's an improved global positioning system, meaning that instead of having a single receiver that will pick up about 20 satellites, it's an accumulation of small receivers that are inside that will have a much more reduced sky environment in which we are sure to only pick up the satellites that come from above, since there is interference that will come from the ground in which there are false global positioning system information being emitted. This is what we call spoofing, which means that the position of the drones will be gradually shifted, and this of course is something we will avoid. The drone, this great strength is that thanks to its positioning system and its communication system, it has the ability to go up to 49.7 miles away behind enemy lines. And it is one of the only 2 Ukrainian drones that can go deep, including over Russian territory, for example in the Kursk region, 49.7 miles into the Russian border, with images that will show, which I cannot share with you, but we know that it works. Only 2 drones can do this. And this one, at least on this point, it is exceptional. This allows for efficiency in depth. It allows, for example, to see for strike with the IMARS and also with small Kamikaze drones. The problem with first-person view Kamikaze drones is that traditionally, since you pilot them from the ground, they are limited to 6.21 miles, which is already a lot. Except that there is also what we call the mesh, that is to say that the pilot of this drone will do his normal work, and the pilot of the first-person view Kamikaze drone who is next to him, he will use this drone as a communication network, as a relay. That is to say that his Kamikaze drone, from the moment it has enough battery, it will no longer be limited by the power of its antenna, but it will be limited by its batteries. And instead of being able to hit only 6.21 miles, they had cases in which Kamikaze drones could go up to 24.85 miles away. We no longer have this limitation that we had in the past. So it really greatly increases the overall efficiency of the system, because here we really have an ecosystem that is created around this drone. So here you have the block with 2 batteries, the batteries of large size. Each battery has a capacity of 4 hours, and so in total we are able to fly for 8 hours in electric. The interest of flying in full electric is obviously that we are not detectable because we make very little heat. We therefore emit to the system to hook up with the missile. For example, it's very complicated. We make much less noise. You remember that thermal propulsion drones, just by the noise, just by the heat, they are forced to fly at 1.864 miles altitude. He can fly at 1,968.5 feet. While remaining discreet, it means that as we fly lower, we can have better image qualities, or we put cameras that cost less, even if it still remains very expensive, obviously. This type of camera, the concept is to have three drones at the same time. A system, it's a communication block, and 3 drones, 2 day drones, 1 night drone. Or even they are developing a function in which they are plug and play. That is to say that they will be able to remove the camera to make a day and night adaptable drone, because they are always looking for efficiency. And so if we can save 30,000 euros by avoiding having an infrared camera, by simply having the classic camera that already sees very, very well at 12.4 miles distance, well, they will do it because they are adaptable. And that's a great strength, is that depending on the mission, they will be able to adapt the content and the equipment of the drone simply to not endanger a drone that would be, for example, 2 days with an infrared camera. It's useless. And then if they ever lost it like that, they save 25,000 euros for the next system. In addition to the drone that we see, it should be known that there is the flight school that includes this flight simulator. It's me next. Okay friends, so here in front of me I have the flight simulator on which the pilots will train. Well, actually it's easy to use. I wouldn't say that I would dare to use a real one. In any case, I manage it more or less. I don't know if you realize that they have developed a simulation software in addition to the drone itself, and graphically it's still superb. And then me, look, it's me who's piloting. Okay, so now friends, landing challenge. I'm on my back sail, basic step. Oh, it's almost not dead, isn't it? You have very good skills. That's the difference when it's a pro who's piloting. Congratulations.
Now we're going to talk about industrial and operational dimensions.
These drones, so 3 drones, plus the catapult, plus the communication system that I'm not allowed to show you, but which is awesome, is for the cheaper versions around 140,000 euros. When I say cheaper, it's because there's only one drone that has the full infrared version, and the others are usable 2 days but not at night. Otherwise, there is the possibility of having the 3 systems with day and night. Obviously it costs more. We don't fly all the time at night. But since they are very good, they managed to get a government contract, which means they now deliver 30 systems each month. 30 systems, so 90, around 100 drones per month. From October, a second factory will supply double the amount. And imagine that an equivalent French drone, if we are 10 times more expensive, it's because we were really very good. We are dealing with orders of magnitude that are super interesting. With this, they managed to be efficient. For example, I've had feedback on the Kherson area, you know, on the other side of the Dnieper River. The Russians who only move at night, meaning they can no longer move during the day, because there are already too many drones flying, Ukrainian drones. With this drone, which is really effective at 12.4 miles, they see people walking. And then they send the Kamikaze drones with the communication system. In a single night, they showed me the videos. They were able to strike 20 vehicles in one night. And they do this almost every day. That's why there is a very high loss rate in the Kherson area. It's because they have these drones deployed. They have Kamikaze drones. Night first-person view that work with the lighting that is done by Airlogix's GOR, and they have colossal results, and that's why we have this gigantic loss rate, especially in the cringy area. Until very recently, we are in August, the Ukrainians held the front and held the other side of the border because it caused a very significant attrition on the Russian side. Now that the Russians have started to push a little further, they have retreated, but they have had operational results and a loss ratio that was super interesting. That's why they held on for a long time, and it's also thanks to this type of drones that they have this efficiency. It's really impressive. I'm sad not to be able to show you more. He's preparing other things. There is real breakthrough innovation with things that will happen here. I think we will be able to talk about it probably at the end of 2024, and already I will have to wait a few months to release this video, which is shot in August. Alright, I'll see you very soon, and look how beautiful it is. You won't see ones like this every day. Alright, see you soon.